Hello, I'm Volker from Rubberquartz. I suck at YouTube, but you suck at tuning. Welcome to the second part of the Beyond PD Balance series. This is about Betaflight Blackbox Explorer. It's my tool of choice to judge a tune, a behavior of a quad by the log files Betaflight generates for us. I'll just explain you how to use the Blackbox Explorer. So it's not about how to judge a log with it, just how to navigate and how to use the tool. Blackbox Explorer is an online app that runs in a Chrome browser. So we open up Chrome. I have it in my shortcuts here. So you find it on blackbox.betaflight.com. If you want the current master, if there is something new you want to test, it should be available on master.blackbox.betaflight.com. Currently close to the release to 25.12. It is the same, but as the features from the beta version diverge from the release, there might be new stuff to see on the master branch. I will put both links in the description. So when we open it, we'll have a nice welcome screen. Here we have a open log button, but you can also just drag and drop a log file. Let me show this to you. Just take a log file from your Explorer and drop it. A good sublog. So, what are we seeing? First off, the top bar over here, you have few header files, so you can view the graph, view the current settings of Betaflight. It doesn't look like in the configurator, but you have your PID values, your sliders if you use them, general tuning settings, and your gyro and D-tone filtering settings, as well as your rates, smoothing, and bits more, especially CLI parameters might be of interest. You can close this by clicking beside it. You can watch this as a table. It's not too interesting. You have controls for your overlays on the top left, where you can show and hide your stick positions and the little symbolized quad here, and the analyzer window, which will automatically pop up if you click on the right hand side on one of the values. The playback, I don't use it at all in speed. Zoom is important. If you want to judge a vibration, you can zoom in all the way. No, zoom is here. And see how far those offset, and when you mark them, no, not with space, with M, you can mark peaks of vibrations with M to get the frequency and the time offset happening. Then you get the current time where your cursor sits at the moment. This is important if you share a log. You can give this time code to point someone to a moment of interest you wanna discuss. Next, the workspace. The workspace is the setup of the graphs you will see on the screen. You can have 10 different workspaces. I think this is the default setup, and just load them if you click on them, and you can also rename them with a little pen and save them if you change something and want to keep this change. To export a workspace, you have on the top right the controls. This will save the current workspace setup on as a JSON file. You can load it by just drag and drop a JSON file onto Blackbox Explorer. To decide what you want to see and what you want to save in the workspace over here, you have the graph setup and the graphs config over here. On top you can choose a sublog. I usually save out the Betaflight all file when I do my logs, and then all those logs, all those flights that are logged are in this. So there's nonsensical less than a second arming and one proper 4-minute flight. Down here you have controls. You can use Expo to exaggerate small movements if you want to measure this vibration. For example, just set a cursor to a peak or to a zero crossing, hit M and go to the next peak or zero crossing, and you got at the frequency which this happens, it's 240 Hertz at this place. When you want different values, you can hit graph setup, and then you got a list of graphs. You can have more graphs. This is always one graph is one vertical section of the viewer, and you can add and remove fields. I recommend putting a RC command at least one access if it's from a customer log, because you need to judge if he's running crossfire at 50 Hertz or dynamic where the steps changes mid log. So you want to see this and advise him on the proper RC filtering. Important stuff in the log. On the bottom you have a Seekbar where you can click on a position and it will jump. Wait, let me reset the zoom. Double click will do the trick, and it will jump to where the purple graph here shows a value. You can change this value. Usually it's average throttle, where you can find throttle punches or throttle ramps. But you can set this to area maximum stick input, which is good to find snap moves, or to maximum motor differential, which might be similar, but sometimes in prop force you get more motor differential than on a snap move. Analyzer display. Now, important for setting the filters is this analyzer. You can zoom in, make it full screen with this button. It's always some value, usually energy over frequency. You can choose what you want to plot here. This is the old one we are using to see where the energy is happening, but it doesn't tell you why it is happening. Frequency versus throttle is a bit better because you have the throttle over here and the frequencies that are happening over here. So you see with higher throttle the prop's gonna spin faster. This is the first harmonic. This is the third harmonic. I don't see a second over here. That's why we don't use the filter. If you want it clearer, you can set frequency versus RPM. It should be a linear relation. Whereas throttle, you will see the props won't spin up the same with the same throttles at different throttle values. So at lower low throttle values, the props need longer to spin up, so you have less torque over here than you have over here. Richard power. That's the PID toolbox plot. That's basically the same as the first, just with line instead of bars. But you have the same 4 throttles, so you will be able to judge your throttle response. Over here you can zoom in on the lower frequency region if you want to single out a harmonic. For instance, this build has one harmonic at 220 just on the pitch axis. And you have error versus set point, which tells you how much error depending on set point. The faster you spin, no, zoom out, no. Yeah, forget this. Please, if you share screenshots from normal flight more than a minute, don't turn up the gains. Oh, I see so much noise. Double clicking will reset it. Everybody who looks at logs a lot, you use the default gain. If you can't see something with a default gain, it's probably not worth checking. Now, a couple of screenshots. You have I and O for in and out points. So all graphs will be calculated just from the part that you selected. You will see the part that you cut away, the parts at the beginning and the end that you cut away grayed out. I always showed you mark, the M, and if you mark and move your cursor, it will tell you the time between the 2 points and the according frequency. In the analyzer window, especially if you want to find resonances, you can mark this with holding the shift key. This will tell you the exact frequency where your cursor is sitting. You have Alt S, this will make it save a screenshot, and the number keys, not the numpad, but over the normal letters, can be used to change which workspace you want to use. One more thing, on the right hand side of the graph config, you can click on one graph to have it full screen, and if you click on it again, you will see all graphs again. This is especially handy if you want to have an overall picture and you see something on the roll or pitch axis and you want to take a closer look. Yeah, the analyzer window will follow the last value that you clicked in the graph window. I don't know how to reset the in and out points. Let's just set them at the beginning. And that's about it. I hope you found something new, and see you soon. Bye.